The Second Punic War. One of the most famous and dramatic conflicts in the history of ancient Rome. Ended in 202 BC after the Great Battle of Zama, where the Roman general Publius Cornelius Scipio dealt a decisive defeat to Hannibal's army. However, although the Battle of Zama marked the end for the Carthaginians, the true significance of Rome's victory and the war's conclusion is revealed only within the context of the broader processes that occurred throughout the war. To fully appreciate the outcome of this conflict, one must understand the tremendous stakes involved, and how each side's strengths and weaknesses played a crucial role in determining the ultimate victor. The Second Punic War began in 218 BC when Hannibal, the Carthaginian general, led an army across the Alps to strike Rome. This ambitious plan was the result of Carthage's dissatisfaction with Rome, which had taken important territories and resources. Following the First Punic War, Hannibal, a brilliant strategist, led his army through the mountains and inflicted a series of crushing defeats on the Romans in Italy, including the famous battles of the Ticinus, Trebia, and, of course, Cannae in 216 BC. At Cannae, Hannibal's army achieved a military masterpiece, encircling and annihilating a Roman force many times its size. The battle is often cited as one of the greatest tactical victories in military history, demonstrating Hannibal's genius and ability to manipulate the battlefield. However, despite these successes, Rome was never brought to its knees. Carthage was unable to deliver the final blow to Rome's political and military structure. Though Hannibal reached the peak of his glory, he failed to conquer Rome itself, which remained a symbol of Roman resilience and determination. The key issue for Hannibal was that although his tactical brilliance on the battlefield was unmatched, he lacked sufficient support from his homeland. Carthage, with its internal political instability, failed to send the reinforcements and resources that would have been necessary for Hannibal to sustain his campaign. His army, despite being highly skilled and battle-hardened, was isolated and cut off from the critical resources needed to win the war. Meanwhile, the Romans, enduring numerous setbacks, embodied resilience and determination. They managed to pull their armies out of Italy and begin a counteroffensive, ultimately taking the war to Carthage. A crucial moment in this shift was the selection of commanders, like Flaminius and Scipio, who skillfully led the troops under increasing pressure. Scipio Africanus, who would later become one of the most renowned generals in history, was appointed the commander of the army sent to Africa. This decision became a turning point, as it allowed the war to be taken out of the stalemate and moved to Carthage, where the Romans had better prospects for success. The Romans also managed to rally their allies, which proved to be another key factor in their ability to recover from the defeats of the early years of the war. While Hannibal had initially hoped to incite Rome's allies to defect, most of them remained loyal, seeing Rome as the better protector against Carthaginian domination. This loyalty provided Rome with a steady stream of manpower and resources, which allowed it to maintain a seemingly endless supply of soldiers. In contrast, Carthage, despite Hannibal's success, struggled to gain the same level of support from its own allies. The decisive battle at Zama, where Hannibal faced the Roman general Scipio, became the culmination of the Second Punic War. It was not just a physical confrontation between two great armies, but a clash of two strategies, two worldviews on how a state should behave on the battlefield. Hannibal, as an experienced general, utilized his tactics to the fullest, bringing not only his army but also large war elephants, which were a symbol of Carthage's strength. Scipio, however, by demonstrating extraordinary strategic flexibility, managed to neutralize this threat by positioning his forces in a way that avoided a direct clash with the elephants, while also outmaneuvering Carthaginian cavalry. Scipio's ability to adapt to the Carthaginian strategy was crucial. He understood that in order to defeat Hannibal, he needed to exploit the weaknesses of the Carthaginian army. Scipio's troops were trained to fight in a manner that minimized the effectiveness of Hannibal's superior cavalry. By carefully controlling the flow of battle, Scipio managed to force Hannibal into a situation where his forces, although well experienced and brave, could not maintain their tactical superiority. This is a testament to the growing sophistication of Roman military thought during this period, which combined resilience with strategic innovation. The outcome of the battle was decisive. Hannibal's army was shattered, and the general, having endured numerous defeats yet always remaining one of the greatest commanders of his time, found himself in a difficult situation. The Battle of Zama marked the end of the Carthaginian threat, but it also brought political consequences for Carthage. Although Hannibal had fought heroically, he could not secure the survival of Carthage as an independent power. After the defeat at Zama, Carthage sued for peace, and the Romans imposed their terms: large reparations, disarmament, the loss of overseas possessions, and a ban on waging war without Rome's consent. These terms made Carthage, effectively, a vassal of Rome. This was not just a defeat. It was the end of Carthage's dream of restoring its empire and a death sentence for the city that had once been Rome's rival for dominance in the Mediterranean. The treaty that followed the war left Carthage politically crippled, and its ability to challenge Rome in any significant way was removed. Yet, the changes didn't stop there. While Carthage still existed, Rome became the new center of power. The Roman Republic system gradually strengthened, and its legions began expanding its borders. Using the experience gained during the Punic Wars, the defeat of Carthage was a key moment in the transition from the Roman Republic to the Roman Empire. It marked the point at which Rome's supremacy in the Mediterranean was no longer in doubt, and it set the stage for further conquests in the centuries to come. Rome's victory in the Second Punic War marked not only the end of the Carthaginian threat, but also the beginning of Roman expansion beyond Italy. Over the following centuries, Rome would continue its conquests, and its empire would become one of the most powerful in human history. The impact of the Second Punic War on the development of Roman military strategy and political structure was immense. Rome solidified its position as the dominant power in the Mediterranean and embarked on a long period of undisputed rule in the region. The war revealed the importance of military adaptation, resilience in the face of adversity, and the ability to think beyond the battlefield to achieve lasting political success. Thus, the Second Punic War was not only the final blow to Carthage, but also a catalyst for the growth and expansion of the Roman Empire. The war demonstrated how a great power's greatness lies not only in its army but also in its strategic vision, its ability to adapt, and its avoidance of the errors that could lead to catastrophic consequences. Hannibal, despite his strategic brilliance, failed to capitalize on his advantages in the long term, whereas Rome, despite suffering heavy defeats, ultimately triumphed thanks to its resilience and political resolve.